Welcome to Pat's Cast, the unofficial Regina Pats podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Chris.
And this is our episode for December the 5th, 2021.
Connor Bedard the other way. He's got speed. In over the line, cutting up the middle to Armstrong. He scores! Taken away at the blue line. Here's Jacob Brook, potential breakaway. He's got speed. Walks in, scores! 25 seconds to go in the second. Scores! They scored under their own net! Wow, I've never seen that. Nolan Allen just scored in his own net for Prince Albert.
Well, Chris, the Regina Pats have played 23 games. We are 9-14, 3-7 the last 10, and on a 4-game losing streak. So usually for these episodes, I usually write down some notes and have some talking points, and it was a struggle to come up with some talking points this week. It's I don't know, it's tough. It's a really kind of down week. I was coming into this week feeling like, these are 2 winnable games. PA's not a terrible team, but hey, let's hope for the win there. And Swift Current, they're kind of on par with us. Should be one we can win at home after a long road trip. Come home, play a home game, and it just really did not come together this week. And frankly, it's getting kind of disappointing and old to come up with something to say that's energetic and positive here.
Yeah, that's. I echo your sentiments there. There's not much more I can say. We're looking for at least one win would have been nice, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tough. I mean, finally, PA was just couldn't generate any offensive game, and then you do it in Swift Current, but then the defensive side of the game just falls apart.
Yeah, it's just undisciplined, uninspiring, not energetic. It's just not great product to be watching right now. Let's start with PA. You get down quick. Ironically, it's how many ex-Pats that just took it to us. You're down 3-0 after 1. That's a deep hole. We don't have that firepower to dig out of those holes. And this was a game where, we had talked in the past few weeks about our power play, how successful it is. And this is a game we had 8 power plays and we were 1 for 8. It's too bad. Something just fell apart there. Yeah.
And it seemed like the top line was doing anything. Like the Hal Vallis Bedard line was about the only line generating any somewhat sort of offensive push. The other lines just didn't have anything. I don't know. EPA, they trade away their best player probably, and they come in and it just it's like they didn't miss a beat. They just said, okay, well, he's gone. Everybody's got to step up, and everybody did step up, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the goalie I thought played pretty decent. Otherwise,
theirs
as well. Yeah. PA's.
Yeah, we had 47 shots, and
there wasn't a ton of quality scoring chances there.
No, I was going to say, can be a misleading statistic, but at least we had pucks on the net.
And the one note I have down here is the third goal in the first period, just another terrible pass. It was just like the Calgary game, you just get out of the period and you throw it right up the middle, and it's in the back of your net. You get out of the period 2-0, okay, maybe that's not so bad, but 3-0, but 2-0 wouldn't have changed anything.
Not
in that game.
In the end.
No, in the moment it was like, 2-0 might be okay, but no, it wasn't. It wasn't to be. The highlight of the night for the Pats was probably the own goal that they picked up. That was kind of a funny play.
Yeah, if you're looking for any highlights there, it's I don't know. It's just, you're right. Things are just not working, and I don't know. We were talking before the coaching change. We said this isn't a team that's gonna be fantastic, right? It's I don't know. It feels like is this better now that Strush is gone? Like, is this what people wanted? Are we happy now? I don't know. I guess you guys, whoever, there's a lot of people on that bandwagon for the Fire Strush bandwagon, and
Well, those people I've seen already on the trade Bedard bandwagon now. They've jumped on the new one and said, okay, well, we got to blow it up. This team's terrible. Well, I thought you said firing the coach is going to fix it.
Yeah.
Well, clearly it hasn't, and I mean that's why they're called fans. And I mean,
yeah, that's true.
we are to an extent, but I mean, there are the crazy ones out there, and they always make their voice heard on the social media, right?
That's a good point. Yeah, I don't know. It's just disappointing, right? It's too
I know
bad.
everybody is disappointed.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. We are as well. It's just we're a little more realistic.
But boy, you go into the Swift Current game, that was some Timbit BS hockey sometimes, man. Like, some of the defensive play in that game was horrific, and just
I mean, yeah, lots of puck watching and leaving guys wide open, like
standing around like pylons and just getting skated around and watching the puck. Yeah, like 3 or 4 guys just focused on the puck carrier and standing there and getting passed around. Like, it was really pretty bad.
Yeah, bad. and then the penalty trouble again, right?
Yeah, right. So okay, we're ahead. Like, there's about 10 minutes left in the third period. 1 goal lead. We take 4 penalties in the last 10 minutes of the third period when we had a lead at one point, right? Like, that's tough to watch.
Yeah.
That's really, really pretty tough.
After the Brook goal, I was like, okay, we got this now. Like, it's, yeah, right?
Yeah, it was nice to see Brook finally score. Someone who just hasn't found it again this year. Nice little goal. And, didn't happen.
No, it was tough to see that.
And I know I was reading some stuff about people are really disappointed in Bedard, and up until I don't know, even say the last couple games, I would agree with that sentiment in somewhat, but I felt like this is one of his better games from a individual standpoint, at least. His impact on the game, it felt like.
Yeah, he really stood out in the Swift Current game. I thought.
Like the 2 assists he had, setting up those goals. It was one of those cases where the other team was just focusing on him, and he exposed that and got some really nice passes out to Armstrong and Vallis. And
they both had nice finishes. They weren't easy tap-ins either.
Yeah, Armstrong's is really tough. He had to bring that across his body, and that was a tough goal. And yeah, Vallis's was not an easy shot either. So credit to them, but absolutely Connor Bedard drew the attention of the Broncos. And then his goal, right? Like, you can watch the replay of that, and that was some good individual effort. Yeah, it looked good. So nice to see him starting to maybe get back into his groove and his ability.
Yeah, just in time for him to take off, right?
Yeah. And when does he leave?
So they say it starts on the 9th, so I assume he'll be here for the Medicine Hat game.
Shoot. So he's going to miss Teddy Bear Toss.
Yeah, he'll miss the weekend for sure, and then if he makes the team, he'll be gone till the new year, right?
Yeah.
And then another thing to point out, when does Svozil leave? Like, he'll be making World Junior team. He played with it last year.
True. Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought of that.
I know, right? So the roster, I haven't seen the roster yet, but I can't imagine he's not going to make it, especially playing over here in North America.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. I was thinking of Bedard, but
Bedard and Svozil could be gone. Like
yeah.
That. And Svozil, his game has come leaps and bounds. You can tell.
Yeah.
His defensive game is improving. It's not there yet, but his offensive game, you can tell as well,
Absolutely.
has improved quite a bit.
I agree. Yeah, so that'll be an interesting loss. We can talk about some other things. So the team's pretty banged up. We've got some suspensions. Nyhoff's out. Stringer was a late scratch in Swift Current. He's a bit banged up.
I wonder what's up there. He had 2 2-game suspension, and then all of a sudden he's missed the last 2 games with injury. So it's like, oh, geez,
Yeah.
that's tough. 4 games, and then now Dubinsky, right? Like, how long is he going to be out?
Yeah, he took that a knee-on-knee hit in PA, so he could be out for a little bit.
Guess we'll
Smith
find
is
out
still
Tuesday.
out. Johnson's still out. I mean, you can pick out some excuses here and there, but not for the play. Like, the
Yeah.
poor play. I can understand, okay, we're losing because we didn't have some of our players, but the way they played was just uninspiring. And hard to talk about, to be honest. So that being said, I'm not going to dwell on these games. There's not much we're just sitting here. There's nothing we can really do about it. I don't know. How many more people can you fire? What more can you do? You're not
Right,
going to trade
exactly.
Bedard this year. Like, that's stupid. So, I mean, unless things dramatically change, yeah, that'll be the conversation this time next year, right?
Yeah.
But it's not going to happen. So,
I mean, do you look at moving like a Riker Evans here?
okay,
Like,
well, that's
you
a
could
good,
probably,
yeah.
You could probably get a haul. You could probably get a decent haul for him. I mean, somebody that's
For top scoring
there.
defenseman,
Yeah.
if he could clean up his act a little.
I mean,
You take the good with the
yeah,
bad.
he takes some
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question.
questionable
Sure.
penalties.
Sure,
I
we
mean,
could.
he's your only like real trade bait for this year, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Well, put that out there. What do you think? How many teams have a 20 spot though?
That's true. You'd have to trade a 20 for a 20.
It feels like 20-year-olds don't always get quite the. Regardless, that's a good question. That's definitely something I could see happening now that you've mentioned it.
He's 4th in defenseman scoring. With
So would you want
22 points?
picks or players?
Picks don't help us next
No,
year.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, it's got to be a young player, a young good player.
Yeah, you got to look at a 17 or 18, right?
Yep.
And you're going to get a 20 back, most likely.
Yeah. The 20 would just be for logistics. I don't really care
Yeah.
about that. But yeah, absolutely. If you get a young, good player out of it, someone out west, maybe you'd be looking. Well, that's a good discussion topic. I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah,
but,
like Alex
certainly
Cotton.
something to keep out there.
Okay, so Alex Cotton just got traded to Vancouver from Lethbridge.
Yeah.
And he's a 20.
Okay.
He's an 01. They got a D-man in return, Hunter McInnes.
Okay.
And they got a 22 third, a 23 fourth, a 22 fifth, and a 22 sixth
So a lot of
For
picks. Yeah.
for an offensive defenseman, right?
Yeah.
Because he was right up there last season.
Yeah. Okay.
What did he put up last year? He put 26 points in 24 games. I mean, that's right up there with Evans, right?
Yeah. So that's 4 picks and a player.
And I assume that's a 20. I'm just assuming that.
He's an 05.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, they're 05. Okay. Oh, I guess that maybe Vancouver had a 20 open because this was earlier in the season, right? So,
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a kind of a good benchmark, I guess. Hey, you could be maybe expecting something similar. Those 5th and 6th round picks.
yeah.
I'd rather have like the 3rd and 4th maybe, or 2nd and
Yeah.
4th or whatever. But
Yeah, young guy
young
and
player.
a 3rd and a 4th.
that'd be all right.
Something like that.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that, but that's a good thing to get people thinking about, I think, is what are our assets to sell off. And basically it's him.
Yeah, you look at the 19s.
Maybe a Dubinsky too, if he's
I mean,
made
he
a
could be
case for
back
himself.
next year.
Yeah, that's true.
You kind of want him back, I think, next year.
Yeah,
He's your only offensive 19, right? Because none of the other guys, I mean, Carrier, right? Like, he's coming along, but
yeah.
I don't know, is he enough to keep around for next year? Or
Right.
I don't think you can get much for him this year.
No. Okay, well, that's one thing to think about going forward. When's trade deadline? It's usually early January.
Yeah, usually like the 10th or so.
Okay.
I mean, there's kind of like the trade, well, 'cause with the draft coming up right away.
Yeah.
Like if you want to get a pick, you
Yeah.
know, this month, you got to make a trade here within the next few days.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe they'd want to try and do that before draft day if they're looking for a pick. This because we gave away our first round pick already with Stringer. So.
Right. Yeah. I don't know if I might be a little early to make a trade of that magnitude now, but
I mean, with unusual timing of the draft, it is early compared to the deadline, but you might have to get that done. Interesting. So yeah, it could be something over the next few days. So keep your eyes out for that. Well, otherwise, games this week. So Medicine Hat on Wednesday at home, and then at home versus Prince Albert, and that's the Teddy Bear toss game. So they're really emphasizing any of your bears have to be in a bag. So anyone that brings one, put it in a bag. I think they're probably going to be making you put them in a bag at the door or something like that. And I think that has something to do with COVID protocols. So no giant-ass bears unless you can find a giant-ass bag to go with it, I guess.
I know. I was thinking like the bears that we brought there a couple of years ago. Man, we're going to get a bag for that.
Yeah, I don't know. That would have cost more than a bear probably.
They were like 6 feet tall.
Yeah.
They're massive. So I don't know if we're going all that out this year, but I haven't seen anything. I haven't even looked. I kind of forgot about it.
I haven't gone out. I don't think, unless I see something, but I don't have one yet. So to find a big ass bear in the next few days, probably not. But yeah, for sure we'll get something. That's always fun. And as you said, kind of a shame Bedard won't be there for that one, though. It's always a fun game. Did you see the attendance for Calgary and Edmonton's?
Yeah.
Just unreal.
Packed.
Yeah. Good for them.
Yeah, no, I mean,
cool.
It's a good tradition there and brings about maybe they can get, I don't know, not free advertising, but maybe they can get, some people coming because the attendance at both those teams has not been the greatest this season.
Yeah, they certainly get some for that game. So if they can, and Calgary themselves, I was going to say Edmonton's a great team, but Calgary's kind of on a bit of a swing here too. They've beat up a few teams here lately, so maybe they could pull some people.
Yeah, like after Saskatoon and Regina, they whooped Moose Jaw midweek as well. They've been really coming along.
Says if our division are just not so great, but they've been feasting on us. So, and then Brandon on the Sunday. So,
is that an early start? 4:00?
No, sorry, it's a Saturday. Sorry, PA on Friday, and then I said Sunday, but it's Saturday, so 7:00 start.
Okay.
So 3 and 4 weekend, kind of busy, but hopefully can find some legs there. Luckily, two at home. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know, nowhere to go but up from here. Really, it feels like we're almost at the basement again of the division or the conference even. So, I don't know, guys. Let's go. Medicine Hat's the only team below us. So
I mean, we're only 6 points behind Moose Jaw in 5th place, right?
I know. It's still we've been talking about it all year. It's still tight. Like that. What 5, 6, 7 teams seem to be.
Well, was Calgary not in the basement?
They were.
I mean, not behind Medicine Hat, but 3 wins. They're vaulted up to 7th, right?
Yeah.
So
if we can just get some wins here,
get on a roll. But it's gonna be tough.
Points.
Like said, guys out, guys leaving.
Yeah, I mean, we're not even going to have Nyhoff. We'll have him back for the Friday because it's a 3-game, right?
Yeah. He's one more.
Yeah. Hopefully get Stringer back. Dubinsky maybe. Depends how bad that hit was, but at least the Teddy Bear game should be fun.
I was thinking about Dubinsky. I was looking at the stats. He hasn't scored in a long time. Like 14 games for Dubinsky. So, I mean, he might be out a while, so who knows? It might not be.
Well, let's go around the league a little bit. So Winnipeg had a loss, another one, to Saskatoon this time. So they played a home and home. They've done that a few times now lately. But yeah, Saskatoon really took it to them on their second game. It would end up being like 6-something, 6-3, 6-2.
6-2, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so good for them. Winnipeg sitting at 22 and 3 effectively. They have 2 losses and 1 overtime loss. Edmonton closing that gap now, so same amount of games played, and they're 6 points behind. And over in the West, how are we looking? Everett, Kamloops, Seattle, Vancouver up there as well. Everett really and Kamloops seem to be in that upper tier in the Western Conference.
Everett was in Portland tonight, a 7-1 loss for Everett. It's a bit of a shocker there.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's only their second regulation loss.
Yeah. We kind of talked about it with the PA game, but so starting to see some of the big assets move around. So Caden Goulet moved over to the Oil Kings. So that's a pretty big haul, I think. So 2 players, Carson Latimer, Eric Johnson, 2 first-round picks, one in 2021 and one in 2023, and then a third and a sixth. The third's conditional. I don't know if that's conditional to maybe him playing
Probably
next
him
year.
coming back next year.
Yeah. So likely won't see that. But regardless, the 2 first-round picks and 2 players, it's a pretty good haul.
Yeah, and Latimer's drafted as well. By Ottawa. I don't know where exactly, but
so not a couple of chumps.
No, not a toss-in kind of thing. So,
yeah. But I mean, even like that's a 21, so they're getting one this year, and then a 23
right away here. Yeah.
So it's not even like the upcoming; it's another. So you're still not seeing the results of that for like, because that 20,
right?
The 2023, the kids, how old is he right now? Like 12?
13, whatever. I mean, the 2021, so you'll get him for next year. He'll be 16 next year.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it sounds like the first round is pretty strong. I mean, I don't think it's like last year's first round.
Is it?
But, not last year's, but the Bedard draft with, with Jaeger and Height and all those guys. I don't think it's that strong, but it sounds like the first round is pretty strong. So, but see what happens without one.
Yeah. I guess we should talk about Bedard going over to World Juniors. I mean, there's some questions or comments about that he necessarily hasn't had a stellar year, but like we've kind of talked about it, or there's always that discussion that once a guy's sort of in that Hockey Canada realm and bubble, be continued in that discussion. So he got the invite. Chances are he makes the team.
Yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, like, had a slow start to the under 18s, right?
Yeah.
But you look how he finished at the under 18s, as a 15.
In all the projections, he's not on the roster. He was certainly projected to be invited, but it's a fairly decent team without him, I think. Like, he'd really, have to impress. But you never know with like injuries and stuff.
Exactly. Plus, there's lots of guys that aren't coming back, like Sillinger and a few other guys that aren't obviously.
Yeah, they were talking about some of those guys. The NHL is not. None of them are coming back.
That's every year, right? There's always a guy or two that doesn't come back. So there's always, somebody else has got to step up, right?
Yeah. Okay, you got anything else for this week?
No, I don't think so. I don't know. Are we doing any predictions for this coming week?
Just better.
Look better.
Be better.
Be better.
I don't know. I'd just like to see some better defensive play, really. Just cleaner defensive, not... God, man. It was ugly. Some of those goals, I don't know. They were just standing there for some of them. Yeah. I'd just like to see some cleaner play and more disciplined.
Yeah.
Really, yeah. I'd be happy with that right now. Yeah. The goals will come.
Yeah. You gotta beat Medicine Hat, and then, I mean, can you split the weekend games? So
it's nice to win that teddy bear toss game with all the people there.
Yeah.
They should play with a little extra pep, but we'll see. I'm not banking on anything right now till they prove me otherwise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Well, regardless, let's have some fun at the rink on the weekend, and we'll see you around.
All right. Have a good night.
Good night. Patscast is a proud member of the Saskatchewan Podcast Network. If you're interested in other homegrown podcasts with a wide variety of topics, check out saskpodcastnetwork.com.